So I haven't really talked about my thoughts. So I haven't really discussed my thoughts on Sonic Frontiers since the game came out last month, but just to make it short, I thought the game was great. Do I think that there's areas for improvement? Absolutely, but overall, I thought the game was a very solid experience from beginning to end for the most part. I thought the game controlled great, I thought it looked great, I thought it sounded great. And overall, while the game, like I said, does have areas for improvement, I think it definitely does lay the groundwork for a truly incredible Sonic experience in the future when the next mainline game comes in the next 4 to 5 years or something like that. And it certainly exceeded my expectations when comparing it to all the early and really underwhelming looking gameplay reveals that we got back in June. But overall, I had a really good time with the game, and I was not expecting to hear this today. But here in Australia, it was 7 AM when they announced this. I just got out of bed. It is a Thursday, and then I see this. Yeah, I've got two computer screens, that's why I'm looking over there. But yeah, Sega just out of nowhere dropped this big bombshell that Sonic Frontiers was going to be getting DLC all throughout 2023. And I did not expect this in the slightest. I wasn't even sure if Frontiers was going to be getting DLC because honestly, Sonic games in the past really haven't done it. And even the few Sonic games that have had DLC, it's usually very underwhelming or not really all that much. Like, I think the only Sonic games to have it were Sonic Lost World, which actually had those Nintendo World expansion packs, which are actually pretty cool. We had Episode Shadow and Sonic Forces, which was really nothing at the end of the day. And also for some reason, Super Sonic as DLC content. I still don't get that. And the PC version of Sonic Generations, at least as far as I remember, did have that Casino Night pinball minigame for PC owners, so I guess that was kind of cool. But Sonic games have never gone all out with their DLC in this way before. This isn't just going to be like unlockable skins or some quality of life expansions. They have gone all out and adding full-on quality of life features and expansions that the original game didn't have. Hell, I didn't even think about some of these when playing the game, but now when I'm looking at it, this game is going to have a great lifespan in 2023. So I kind of just wanted to quickly talk about these updates that we're getting, how I feel about them, and how I personally feel they're going to add to the overall quality of the game and really give it that sort of replay value that was severely lacking in my opinion. So over here, update 1, we have Jukebox mode, which is likely just going to be a mode where you can just listen to all the songs again. A lot of games do have Jukebox modes. I'm not really sure if it's like an area on the map you go to listen to it, or if it's something in the extras menu, or if it's going to be like Generations where you can change songs for different levels, which that would be really cool, though I kind of doubt that's not the case here. But still, Jukebox mode, that's pretty cool. And for a Sonic game, and of course, for Sonic games, you know, the music is always a bop, and Sonic Frontiers is no exception to that, so I think that makes sense to add that. Photo mode. Now, photo mode was something that I've heard a lot of people mention it should have been in the game from the beginning, and I do agree with that. Personally, I don't use photo modes that often in games. Sometimes I do, but generally it's just kind of a very selective moment or when I feel like I can really get a good shot. But yeah, I think a photo mode makes a lot of sense. I think Sonic Frontiers was a very visually interesting game, and even though it didn't really have the best art direction in my personal opinion, there's a lot of really cool shots you can do, especially when you're doing tricks or fighting robots. So yeah, photo mode, I'm down for that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Then we have new challenge modes. And here in the picture they've shown off, you can see both cyberspace levels and what looks like the open zone. Now this one is particularly interesting to me because one of my biggest gripes with Sonic Frontiers' challenges, well, challenges in quotes I'm going to say, is that a lot of them felt very, very easy. Like in the open zone, for example, it was like quick step on these panels, follow this trail of floor lights so you can open up a part of the map. And it's not as bad as it makes sound like I'm describing it to be. I kind of did feel like a lot of the challenges just went by very quickly and overall just weren't all that complicated. It kind of took away from sort of the challenge in my opinion. And the same thing goes for Cyberspace too, how they had the same 4 or 5 missions again, which was just finish the level, finish with a certain amount of rings, finish under a certain time limit and find all the red rings. So I'm really hoping this means that they're going to add some extra harder challenges, like maybe you have to finish the level without taking damage, or maybe you have to destroy all the enemies, or maybe they'll be a bit more lenient with the time limits and make them harder to achieve, like the infamous 1-2 Sky Sanctuary level. So who knows with that, but yeah, I do think the more mission and challenge variety, I'm down for that. I think that's something the game actually needs. And I did also notice that you can see Super Sonic here too, which to me, that's a very, I don't want to say guaranteed, but that gives me a lot of hope that we can actually replay the boss fights, because the boss fights in this game are pretty fucking epic. I love the Supersonic boss fights. I've even started new save files just so I could play them again, because my god, those boss fights are some of the most peak that Sonic has ever had, and even though they are kinda easy, it's all worth it just for the scale, and especially the music in those fights. I am down for that. So that's coming out early in the year, probably around February or March, I imagine. Then for update 2, we have Sonic's birthday. I literally have no idea what this means in context. My best guess is there's going to be some kind of Sonic-themed birthday event. Maybe they'll have new cosmetics you can unlock. Maybe there's going to be certain parts of the island where you can do activities themed after Sonic's birthday. Literally, I have no idea what that could mean. Though, one thing it does kind of tell us is that since this is called Sonic's birthday, I think it's pretty safe to say that this is probably going to come out in June. more specifically June 23rd, because that is Sonic's birthday, or at the very least around June 23rd, like a week before or after, so who knows about that. Open zone challenges. Kind of adding on to what I said before about new challenge modes, I'm not really sure what the difference between new challenge modes and open zone challenges are. I have a feeling that the challenge modes are going to be like options on the menu page, like maybe they're going to add a feature on the main menu that says challenges, so maybe you go to that and you do different types of challenges like I said before. And open zone challenges might be more stuff you can do in the open world, because like I said, I thought they were very lenient and a lot of them were very easily, especially in regards to how much time they give you for certain missions. I should have said this earlier, but a lot of the time-based missions in the open zone were very, very lenient. They gave you so much time to finish certain missions that it's almost impossible to fail them by actually running out of time. Like, you can finish most of the time-based challenges in the open world and still have more than half the time that they've given you to actually finish them. So yeah, kind of like what I said before, probably just more challenges and hopefully harder ones too. And new Coco. Again, with the birthday one, not really sure what that entails. My best guess is that there's going to be different Cocos scattered around the island that have different cosmetic looks to them. Like, maybe there'll be different colored Cocos, or some will have like head or eye accessories. Don't know what that means, and honestly, if that's the case, it's a little bit pointless in my opinion, because Cocos aren't really needed to 100% the game. They're just kind of things you find around randomly. You collect them and take them to the Elder Coco, who upgrades your speed and your ring count. So yeah, that's probably the one thing I'm the least hyped about, probably just because I don't know what to expect. Well, who knows, maybe it's bigger than it's letting on. Maybe they're going to add another Coco who can upgrade certain features that'll be added in this DLC, or who really knows at that point, but not much to say about that. Now, the bombshell though, of course, is right here. New playable characters, plural, playable characters, and new story. This is the bombshell that I just lost my mind at when I saw this. Legit, when I first fucking saw this, when I got out of bed, I went on my phone, checked Twitter. This was the first thing that I saw, even before I saw the first two updates. Because you can see that they wanted to highlight this one in particular. Because you can see right here, they highlight this in big, bold letters. It's all combined together in a single column. They want that to be the selling point. And I am so excited for this, for pretty obvious reasons. A lot of Sonic fans, including myself, have really, really wanted the ability to play as other characters in such a long time now. Like, yeah, you've had spin-off games like the racing games, like, you know, Sega All-Stars, Team Sonic Racing, Sonic Boom, like, just technically, if you want to count that, and, like, the Olympic Games stuff. But the last time that we've been able to play as anyone, apart from Sonic, in a 3D mainline game was Sonic 06, which was 17 years ago. Or by the time this game comes out, it's going to be, like, 17. I can't fucking do math to save my life, but yeah, like, yes, Tails and Knuckles were in Sonic Mania, but the one that was a 2D game, I'm not even sure if it counts as mainline, but the last time that we could play as either of these three in any mainline game was Sonic 06, 17 years ago. I am so excited for this, because, like, one thing that I loved about Sonic Frontiers and its plot was that it finally gave these characters some well-needed justice. Their characterization was great, the interactions with Sonic were great, and even though we couldn't play as them, at least at the time, it did at least, like, set the foundation for something great in the future. The way their stories end off, how they want to go out and explore the world, kind of set the groundwork for some well-needed character redemption. And now we're going to finally be able to play as them, and that gets me so excited again. Now, granted, it doesn't specify exactly that we'll be playing as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, sorry, because you can also see Sage here too. So maybe we'll be able to play as Sage, who knows? It also, of course, like I said, it says new story here, so there's probably going to be an expansion to the main story, like maybe it could be a prequel or a mid-quel, or even post-game, though I think that one's a little bit less likely. Assuming that we are going to be playing as Tails, Knuckles, and Amy again, which we very likely are, you know, we might be playing them in the time between Sonic rescuing them, is my guess. Are we going to be able to play as them in the open world? Are we going to be able to play as them only in cyberspace? I really hope not. I hope we can go back and forth with both. Does this tie into this new story that they've listed? Do they go back to the Starfall Islands for some reason? Or is this completely separate from the islands and we're just playing... Like, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but I am just so happy that we're finally going to get some spotlight with these characters again in a playable format. Again, it's very likely how it's looking based on what they're showing off here. I presume flying around as Tails, gliding around as Knuckles, Amy probably using her hammer. I'm very excited about this, and I know I've said that multiple times now, but I can't stress this enough. Just finally being able to play as someone other than Sonic again in nearly 17 years, again, in a mainline 3D game, is like completely unheard of now. And the fact that they're actually doing this, to me, kind of says that when the next mainline game comes out in 2026, 2027, or whenever, that they might actually take from this and craft new story character campaigns around these characters. So many people have asked for Adventure 1 and 2 remakes or Adventure 3, and I want those too. But we've also been concerned, like, how are they going to handle it? Because it's been so long since we've been able to play as them. Are they going to feel just as janky as they did with 06 by giving them their own gameplay styles? Who knows at this point? But I still think that having them return to a playable format is a very good sign for what we can expect for these characters going in the future, and I'm all for that. And to touch on the new story thing, again, who knows what this entails? It could be a prequel, it could be a sequel or mid-cool. They are highlighting Sage here, so my best guess that it's probably going to revolve around her in some way because, brief spoiler warning, the post-credit scene, it is sort of implied, if not just outright confirmed, Eggman does revive her after she sacrifices herself. Or heck, maybe this is us pointing us at able to play as Sage. I'm not sure how that would work, considering her powers to travel back and forth between cyberspace and the kind of powers that she has. But who really knows at this point? But I'm really looking forward to it. It does stink we are going to have to wait until the end of the year for this, but I think that wait is going to be well worth it. But yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say, because I honestly was kind of thinking 2023 was going to be a bit slower for Sonic. 2022 was already pretty damn packed with Sonic content. Of course, we had the second movie come out, we had Sonic Origins come out, we had Frontiers last month, and we got Sonic Prime coming out in a few weeks too on Netflix. Last year we had Sonic Colors Ultimate, and it's probably something else that's escaping my mind right now. In 2020, of course, we had the first Sonic movie. The 2020s are just going to be a packed time for Sonic, and I am all for this. I think this is something the franchise really needs. I'm really happy they're not just throwing Frontiers aside and getting to work immediately on the next game. They're going to give this game the lifespan it deserves. I think it's needed, and especially considering, and I'm very much looking forward to this, because one of my personal gripes is that I didn't think Frontiers had much in the way of replay value. Once you kind of finish the game, there wasn't really much to do to go back otherwise. Like, yeah, you can do the arcade mode and replay the cyberspace levels, or you could go back and unlock all the map to get 100%, or if you want, you could also get all the memory tokens, but that's not even required for 100%, so I don't know why you'd want to do that. But yeah, they're going to keep this game's lifespan going. I'm all for it. Sonic Frontiers is already a really good game in my opinion. Again, not perfect, but I think this is going to really help the game in the long run. Just really give this game the lifespan that it needs. And I really think that once all this content has come out and we get probably like a deluxe or a definitive edition, probably in 2024 or something, I think that these expansions could truly make Sonic Frontiers one of the best games in the entire series, if you didn't already feel that way about it. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say here. I'm looking forward to this. And if you guys enjoyed it, I'll consider making more videos like these, because I actually really do enjoy talking about this stuff. And my life is pretty hectic right now with school and shit, but I really want to try and, you know, make more videos like these, because I do enjoy just spouting my mouth when I have things to say. So thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.